By the time I'm making this video, it's July 24th, 2026. Of course, a lot can change less than a month, but I want to get this video over with because I've been wanting to make a video about this for a while. I've been wanting to talk about the IndyCar Washington Grand Prix and finally give my opinions about it. Well, not finally. I've made my opinion right away, but I haven't done a video about it. So with that being said, let's begin. Unfortunately, the IndyCar Washington Grand Prix takes place on August 23rd, and since the day of the news that came out, which is I think January 30th, somewhere around late January, it was already bad as it was. It was even bad as it was when it was first rumored, but nobody thought it was going to actually happen. We were going to have a 17-race scheduled season in 2026, but then out of nowhere, late January, the administration signed an executive order to have a race at Washington because, yeah, and of course, there was backlash about it, and rightfully so. I'm one of the people who's very against it for so many reasons, and I'm going to be explaining about it. So yeah, with that being said, let's begin. My first of many problems is that the Washington Grand Prix is yet another street course. Unfortunately, for I don't know how long, IndyCar has been focusing on more street courses because it makes the most profits and such and such. The problem is that we have way too many street courses. Some of the street courses, like the new ones or recent ones, they're terrible. They are so terrible, like downtown Nashville, downtown Detroit. I'm not gonna lie, Arlington is not that bad of a street course. We had a decent race. Hopefully it does get better next year, so I'm not gonna shit on it. We have way too many circuits as it is. Penske Entertainment and also Fox continues to have more street courses because more people show up to those and it's more profitable. Of course, I want to see more ovals. This sport, IndyCar, American Open Wheel Racing, is supposed to be like an oval-based series. Not 100% ovals, of course. I want to see a balance between ovals and circuits. Of course, I don't want it to be all ovals. That would be kind of dumb. I know we had that in 1996, 2004. I like to see a balance of ovals and circuits in general. And you know, if this sport wasn't run by out-of-touch billionaire fossils, I'm sure IndyCar would be so much better than where we are right now in terms of scheduling. And not only better scheduling, but also better advertising and marketings on the oval races. That way we get some more people in the stands and also tuning in, instead of just relying on sponsors and even NASCAR to do it for them. Doug Bowles for president. These days, unfortunately, if you're an IndyCar fan, you are going to get a bunch of circuits and you are going to like it. So Washington is another street course that nobody gives a fuck and nobody asks for. But comparing to the new ones like downtown Nashville, the return of the unfortunate downtown Detroit and Arlington and other rumored street tracks that might happen. Oh, Markham as well. The Washington Grand Prix is different compared to the other street tracks. And I will get to that part in a moment. And the second problem with the IndyCar Washington Grand Prix is that it's yet another bad look for the sport once again. And for IndyCar, unfortunately, IndyCar and bad publicity are a duo, let's just say. Whether it's like the split and also like, you know, Penske car, for example, you know, like Roger Penske's controversy Team Penske, since Penske owns the sport, and other problems that I do not want to go over. I'm just thinking about the ones on top of my head. This sport is unfortunately familiar with bad publicity, and IndyCar Washington is a really bad look. It's because the Trump administration signed an executive order to have the race held there. And like I said, I'm going to go over the problems why it's a really bad look to have IndyCar racing at Washington compared to other street tracks. This is a bad look, which I'm going to go over right now. The Washington Grand Prix, it's not about the racing and the celebration of America's 250th birthday. It is a political distraction because since Trump's second administration, not only that, but since the last administration, the Biden administration, but this is more about the Trump administrations, along with Biden administration. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, with what's going on with the current Trump administration, it is just god-awful. It is a really bad time to live in the United States of America. It's a political distraction because what we have going on in this country is nothing but wars. Everything's expensive. They're cutting funds left and right. about the ones that are supposed to help us make our country thrive and, make sure we all get healthy, not die and such. Anything important that we need in life, in this country, they're cutting funds. And the worst of all is the Epstein files. We are unfortunately racing at a street track which was signed by a pedophile and a crook. And also a scammer as well. Like, how can you actually defend this? The country's unfortunately at its worst once again since the decade in general. Not only the Trump administration, but also the Biden administration. And we're racing in Washington. It is a really bad time to race in Washington. I mean, to be fair, racing at Washington in general is a bad look as well. Same with having sporting events, because Washington, yes, it's the most historic state in America, but it's also the most political. How can you have an event there and not think about politics? It's a literal distraction from the problems with America, with what's going on around the world, and also America. How can you not think that this race is a distraction? Same with the UFC fight that took place back in June. Because what happened to get politics out of racing? Whatever happened to get politics out of sports? You're supposed to separate sports and politics. You are not supposed to have them together in one. Of course, that's going to create division. It's not going to be about the racing. And the worst of all, the Washington Grand Prix, it's going to be all about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump makes everything all himself. He's selfish. This is not going to be about IndyCar racing, nor the celebration of America's 250th birthday. I explained it because of what's going on with this country at the moment, which is a really terrible time to live in this country. And it's a damn shame that we're all struggling while you got Trump and other rich people, funding each other to make sure they're fine, make sure we're not fine. It's really disgusting. And unfortunately, IndyCar fans are going to race in Washington. Yes, we've had a sports car race at Washington back in 2002. So should I be mad about that? Kind of, because they're racing in a historical political landscape. But the difference is that 2002 was a different time. It was 24 years ago. Maybe it was acceptable then, unlike it is now. I don't know. I might sound double standards. I don't know. We should not have any sporting events in Washington, D.C. We should not have any racing in Washington, D.C. Because automatically, especially these days, it's just going to be all divisive and controversial. And how are they going to prepare a stupid Washington track race in 7 months, by the way? How are you going to do that with no problems? Because I know when you're making a street track, it takes a while to, talk about people, where to have a race at, prepare for everything. I heard, if I could be wrong, I heard there was talk about having IndyCar Washington race for a while. But with the original scheduling, it never went through. But unfortunately, we only have it because they signed the executive order. And of course, Fox is happy about it because they're a right-leaning company with Fox News. And Roger Penske is a right-winger as well. Unfortunately, guess what? They're happy about it. While meanwhile, us fans are divided about it. All I can say is do not support this race by watching it. Unfortunately, people are going to attend no matter what because it's a free race. Here's the thing. Back in June, NASCAR had their own race at a Navy base in San Diego. I'm going to be 100% honest. It was one of the greatest NASCAR non-Daytona 500, non-Daytona Speed Weeks races I have ever seen in a really, really long time. It's been a while since I was looking forward to a NASCAR weekend genuinely. I was also looking for St. Petersburg for trucks and IndyCar. That was really cool too. But a NASCAR Navy Base San Diego race. It's one of the coolest events ever, honestly. I wish NASCAR did this kind of stuff back when I was a younger fan. And also a lot of things. What NASCAR did right at the San Diego was not only the promotion, not only the hype, and also they celebrated America's 250th birthday the right way because we're racing in a Navy base where people are fighting for our freedoms. I think that's one of the most American things you can ever get. And the racing for trucks and O'Reilly, they were really good. Yeah, they had some crazy moments, and unfortunately, the track design wasn't perfect, like turn 1, for example. But the overall racing were really good. And for the Cup race, unfortunately, I did not see the Cup race at San Diego. I really wanted to, but I couldn't. Because it was Father's Day, we saw Toy Story 5, we went out to eat pizzas. It was Father's Day, of course, so family first. But man, the race looked really, really good. Some people said it was like one of the best Gen 7 road course races out there. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it. I've only seen reaction videos, but I believe it. San Diego, NASCAR racing in that Navy base is so fucking cool. It had aura. That's the best way to celebrate America's 250th birthday. And guess what? There was even a movie of NASCAR versus Navy. How cool can you get? That is the right way to celebrate America's 250th birthday. NASCAR did it right. NASCAR has done a lot of things right this year so far. And it's been a while since I praised NASCAR constantly because now they're slowly getting better. Yes, of course, there's some things I disagree with that I don't agree. But when NASCAR has done something right, guess what? They nailed it. We, the fans, get happy about what NASCAR can do. So yes, I'm glazing the shit out of NASCAR San Diego Racing. And as for IndyCar Washington, what the hell do they have? They have nothing exciting. It's just another random ass street course that nobody asked for. Yes, we're racing in a historical state. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's great and all, but what else do we have? We have nothing else. We're just gonna get nothing but bad publicity and nothing but Donald Trump glazing as well. Because this is Fox we're talking about. They always glaze the hell out of Donald Trump. He can never do anything wrong. IndyCar at the Washington Grand Prix is the worst and embarrassing way to celebrate America's 250th birthday. We could have had different races in the Northeast or any colonies from the first 13 states. Why Washington? I get why Washington because America and stuff, but with the way everything is in America that is run by currently the current administration, it's a really bad look with everything being expensive, nothing but wars, cutting funds, the Epstein files. Everything about the Trump administration is nothing but just bad looks and embarrassments every single time. And unfortunately, IndyCar is racing there no matter what. This is not the same IndyCar that I've recognized that I first got into full seasonally back in 2012. Yes, unfortunately, IndyCar is unlucky. And of course, Fox, they're doing their best to get fans to watch IndyCar more. I get that, but it's not worth it to race in the Washington, D.C. This is something Formula One will do. They race in the Middle East. They would race in anywhere. That is such a bad look for the sport because of Liberty Media. Because they want all those blood monies and such. This is something Formula One would do. If Formula One raced in Washington, D.C., it wouldn't be a surprise. Like, oh, Formula One's racing in bad look again. But for IndyCar, it's a disgrace to see what IndyCar has come to with Penske Entertainment being the owners of the sport and also the sport being run by out-of-touch rich boomers like Roger Penske and Mark Miles. It is a shame that we can't grow better as long as Roger Penske and Mark Miles are still running. I know Fox partially owns the sport, but still. Thank God IMSA at VIR is there and also NHRA at Brainerd. Like, yes, you also got NASCAR at New Hampshire, but even though NASCAR has good New Hampshire races these days, since like 2018 for most races, unfortunately, I'm still not a fan of New Hampshire for the top 3 NASCAR series. I'm just not a fan. So I think that's all I gotta say. As someone who's been living in America for 19 years from Puerto Rico, yes, I know, same continents. It's a really sad shame to see what this country has come to. This decade in general, living in America, it's a really bad time. I love this country. I love where I'm living in. I wouldn't have any opportunities to have a life if it wasn't for me living in the United States of America. So I know the comments are gonna go hog wild and crazy. That's fine. It's a bad time to be an IndyCar fan because of this shit. That's all I can say. This is the most political video I've gotten for this channel standards. Hopefully I don't do it again, but who knows. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. You have a good day. I don't know what else to add. I'm just frustrated.